Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cyberspeak Labs Defenders and Lab Codes podcast. My name is Rena Schultz, and I'll be your aide today as I guide you through different learning opportunities here in Cyberspeak Labs. Now, if you guys do not know about this, or maybe you're a very long time listener, and thank you if you are, but we do have a couple promotional items hitting our Cyberspeak Labs for this following season. The first one being is an awesome AMC discount that you guys can get depending on your location. This can be 40% off on some of those blockbuster movies that are being released soon. So please make sure you can check out any other discounts, links, or products in the Cyberspeak Labs Linktree website located in the description below. Now, without further ado, I am going to address the mysterious person that is on our podcast today. He is amazing. He is fantastic. He is super passionate. He's probably a ninja and samurai at night. We don't know, but I want to welcome Zach Lewis to the Cyberspeak Lab. So, hi, Zach.
Hello, Rana. Thank you for having me. Hello, Lab. Thanks for coming.
Oh, and thank you for being super flexible. If you guys are listening and you did not know this, I had to reschedule with Zach at least like 6 or 8 times. So, Zach, thank you for being committed. It goes
It's
a
all
long
good.
way for
We
me.
made it. We're here now.
Okay, Zach. So that way it's a little less of stranger danger for our listeners. Would you kind of give a background of who you are and what you do and potentially your favorite food that you like to eat on a Sunday night?
Excellent. Yes. What I do is very subjective. I think there would be many disagreements over what others might think I do. But I am the CIO and CISO for the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy in St. Louis. And I've worked there for about 10 years, actually. And in this role for about 5 of those. I came up through the tech startup area, worked in energy, and done some consulting on the side, a handful of different areas. But here I am in higher ed for the last decade or so. I love all things IT and security, and just kind of picked up security after the fact. I was an IT guy first, and a security guy second. And then in terms of food, I mean, I'm pretty basic. I like a cheeseburger, and I'm eating those most days of the week with a little bit of chicken every now and then thrown in. So that's about where I'm at.
Like with you being in St. Louis, I was gonna expect like ooey gooey butter cake or toasted ravioli or
So I'm
I,
originally from like outside Paducah, Kentucky, and moved up for school at SIU Edwardsville, and then kind of just settled in St. Louis because there's jobs there, and there aren't so many down where I'm from.
I'm sure you get asked, "Oh, you're from Kentucky? Have you had the original Kentucky Fried Chicken with 11 herbs and spices?" And you're like,
Oh,
"Yeah, man."
yeah, it's just they don't even call it Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore. It's so sad. I like Popeyes better, and that could cause a fight down home. So you got to be
Oh
careful.
my gosh, I think you just raged like a good portion of our listeners. So if you got offended over Popeyes and KFC, I am sorry.
Fight it out in the comments. I look to see what you have to say.
So, not that I love talking about chicken and everything, but St. Louis is, and a lot of people might not know this, and you obviously might, but St. Louis is a big pharmacy area. Like, there's a lot of med students, there's a lot of med colleges. The pharmaceutical college in St. Louis is probably, in my opinion, like one of the top ones in the Midwest region out here in the States. So the fact that you are working security in a medical sector over in St. Louis, that cannot be easy. I'm sure there's a lot of fires you put out.
There's always fires. You're always in the trench. It's sometimes hard to get out of the day-to-day firefighting and get into actual like strategy and planning and stuff. But I mean it's fun. There's definitely good days, and I wouldn't have stayed so long if I didn't enjoy it. I think the university itself is the third oldest, at least east of the Mississippi, maybe in the country. I don't know for sure, but very old, 162 years. So big legacy.
Yeah. It's like it's a pretty well-known university. And I was kind of doing some research one day. I know, right? But I was doing research and there's actually a university not too far from you called the Lincoln University or College of Lincoln or something similar in Illinois.
Yeah.
And I believe it's like a 3-hour drive from where you work. And it was one of the first colleges to ever, and is currently the only college to ever be closed due to a ransomware event. And I am just, and if you can't talk about this, totally fine. But what are some threats and stuff that you guys proactively have to look for? Or even like security education. I'm sure that's a whole other layer with universities.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that fall into that mix, and especially what happened to Lincoln. So education right now, especially higher education, is going through an interesting evolution. We have less students ever are entering the higher education market, so less students leaving high school and getting into college. But not because things are difficult, but because they just don't see the value. So there's actually been
Yeah.
a big shift there. So you have less people coming in, which means you have less dollars. When you have less dollars, you have less budget. When you have less budget, you have less tools, people, process things, to protect your college against threats. So you have that going on. There's a lot of stuff in the government happening right now around grants and funding and regulation. So you have that mixed in. And then, I mean, it's a very highly targeted market because we have student information, you have employee information, with research, intellectual property. There's HIPAA data if you're a healthcare university, sort of like we are. So you get a little bit of everything thrown in there, and we don't have a lot of budget. You don't have a lot of people. It becomes very hard to protect those things. You become very attractive targets to threat actors. And I think a mix of that's actually what happened to Lincoln, where they were already struggling a little bit, and when you get hit and you can't recover from the ransomware, then you have very limited options, and that's super unfortunate that we've seen that kind of occur in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I guess, like, another thing is, and it's something that, like, you don't really think of until, because I work at a university part-time, and I was thinking the amount of bring your own devices just all over the university network, like cell phones, laptops, anything else that you could think of. I remember in college, we would put routers in our dorm room because we hated the university Wi-Fi because they would throttle your game streams. And so like you couldn't had a friend watch Netflix on their device and you watch yours at the same time. And it was just absolutely unusable. Of course, now things are better. But
Yeah,
back in my day, it was terrible. So we would like bring our own routers and stuff like that.
that's
And I I can't even imagine um like today's current age now where you can just literally bring in pineapples for keyloggers. You can bring in, your own rogue crack device that someone bought on eBay for 20 bucks thinking it's a good deal, like you just don't really think about that. And then now you have your university assets and now you have your student assets and you're just like, huh, okay, well, this is going to be
yeah.
another day of fun. So,
It's funny you bring up the routers thing in college, because when I was in college, I remember doing router, and I did routers for people in the dorms. Like I was setting
yeah.
them up for them so they could have their own. And then back then things were a little different. I might have wore a pirate hat from time to time. And when you set up routers for other people, you can just piggyback off those, and it's super great because. But
And then you find out and get in trouble, and the next thing you know, you have a $50 fine, and you're just like, "Oh,
yeah,
worth it."
well, someone does. Someone does that I set up a router for, maybe. Um, but no, that we have that, and fortunately, I guess the only plus side for our university is we don't have a lot of like IT cyber programs where a lot of other universities do. We really focus on the healthcare side. So, where I've worked in education, where we had cyber programs, IT programs, and those kids like to test the defenses and test the network, and think they're scanning stuff and doing this and that, and it can cause mayhem if things aren't properly segmented and permissions properly aligned. So we don't have as much as that as some places, but things you have to pay attention to. We used to do a one-to-one program for students, so when they came on board, they got a laptop from us that we could manage and take care of, make sure it was secure. But we moved away from that a few years back. Students really just wanted to bring their own devices, and so we let them. And that was a reimagining of our network and how communication flows. And now they kind of all have their own pipe directly to the internet. They don't touch anything else. They don't talk to anybody else. And it seems to be working. So we'll see how
Knock
that
on wood.
continues. But yeah, you get those DMCA takedown requests every now and then. So it's fun.
Of course, like, I don't know, if I was overseeing security at a university and I had a group of students, just scanning stuff, it'd be like, "Thank you for the free pen test," but
Right.
don't do that.
Don't anymore. We actually did one recently where I bought like a $30 like cloner, like ID card cloner on Amazon, just to see if we could clone cards and then take those cloned cards and like buy food with them, or
Yeah.
use the money off of them. And that was an interesting test, because you think of like any kid could just go and like grab a clone online, and you'd be surprised at how many of these students just leave all of their stuff like on desks, and just like leave like in study lounge areas, a laptop, purse, ID badge, and they're just gone. They're gone for like an hour, and you're like, you just left all of your stuff. Wow, you guys are really chill. But
I
yeah,
showed
just
up to
cloning
class. I'm claiming my spot to make it look like I attend, and then I'm gonna disappear for
yeah,
an
yeah,
hour to
really,
go get coffee across campus.
that's right. So
Oh my goodness. So I guess with you working in university, I'm sure there's also like HIPAA stuff that you have to deal with it being on the medical side. How do you guys tackle the different dynamics and challenges that you have with like the academic side and then also now the HIPAA policies? What is your recommendation for students, I guess, that are currently listening to this to know what HIPAA is and the importance of it? And then also your CISO hat as well, your day-to-day challenges juggling all of these different dynamics.
sure. So high level for HIPAA, it's health information of patients. So if you're going into the hospital and you have patient John Smith, and he has whatever going on with him, any of that information that it identifies him, or what his diagnosis is, or the medication he's on, just really anything in that realm. And I liken that, and I'm going to pivot just slightly to also in higher ed, we have FERPA, which is all things academically related. So that could be anything from the letter A that you got in a class, to a percentage, to what courses you're taking. So that's FERPA, that's all things academic. And then you have HIPAA, and that's all things healthcare. So we have both of these things being juggled around. And for our students, we don't have like patient beds on site. We're not bringing people here and treating them on campus, but our students do go on rotation to hospitals, to pharmacies, and different stuff. So they are interacting with HIPAA related information. And the general counsel and I, and sometimes our experiential education department, will go and we give presentations to the students who are going on rotation. And we talk to them about what HIPAA is, and what HIPAA fines look like, and what kind of schools and hospitals have been fined, and why they got fined, and just how much information was sent to cause that fine. Just give them a scope and idea of what's going on. So then the question's like, well, how do we transfer this sensitive information? We want to plug, we're taking our laptops to these hospitals, and it's like, well, they're probably not going to let you on the network, so you're going to use their, protected device there. That's secure. Well, I need to get this information. Well, don't send it over, email, and don't text it to yourself. And we deal with this every year, where students will send healthcare related information via email, and you're like, not really supposed to do that unless it's encrypted, and it's a HIPAA related system. So we have to train them on that. We show them how to encrypt hard drives, and if they need to move data in between systems, but also to check with your health system provider on what their policies are and permissions, because it's different for every hospital, it seems like. But a lot of different things you got to juggle through, and kind of give them a very high level overview of what to expect, and then they have to kind of drill down once they get to their individual locations on what the actual policy is. But
Yeah, and I'm sure like that first week of them dealing with anything healthcare, they're just like deer in headlights. They're like,
don't want to
ah.
mess up, and then by the end they're like, nah, whatever. So I don't know. Hopefully they learn pretty quickly, and they seem to do a pretty good job. We see that. I mean, every year we get one or two, but for the most part, everyone does really well.
Yeah, yeah, which is a good outcome for sure.
Yeah.
And then kind of going into my follow-up question, because I was thinking about this as you were talking. Um, what threats, because you guys are dealing with so much different information, so many like assets that are on the network, now you gotta have the thought of students just being oops on the background as well. What type of threats that do you guys primarily focus or even educate other faculty on while working here?
Yeah. The main one, I mean, the main threat, I think, to most companies is phishing, right?
Yeah.
Email, coming through like that. So we put a lot of focus on that in the early day, and we actually adopted some technology, some advanced, next gen AI. We'll throw all your buzzwords in there. Email security platform that actually kind of blocks almost all of those. We used to get 5 or 6 phishing emails probably a week, and now we down to maybe like one a year or something. It's virtually just wiped it out. It's an amazing
Oh my
tool.
gosh.
So that was like one of our best investments, I think, to just kind of close that gap, because everyone's doing phishing training. We're doing campaigns, we send out stuff, but if we can just take away that threat vector like completely and sort of really secure it down, we don't have to worry so much about that. So that was a big move we did. Um, Other security areas we're concerned about. Research is starting to become more and more important. Not just threat actors wanting to steal that information, but also insider threats, and really having to look at where some of the researchers come from, and what they're doing and where they're sending that. Because if they are from internationally recruited in, and they're doing stuff and they send stuff internationally, you got to like really sometimes scrutinize that data traffic, and is that legitimate? Is the data that they're sending legitimate? Are they accessing things they should have access to, and making sure that proprietary data doesn't leak out and get places it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I like thinking about the insider threat perspective. It was just one of those like, oh, what do you think about insider threats selling personal information, with healthcare? And then like the research aspect, I was like, oh, yep. And I was like,
Yeah,
that can be bad real fast. So
absolutely. I read a report, and this isn't higher ed focused, but being that we're still in a government shutdown right now, I was reading a report saying that um, attacks against government employees are up 80% right now, because they're specifically targeting them. Either maybe morale's low, or they're disgruntled or something, and they're trying to get them to help infiltrate, or maybe get them to click on something and get access. And so if you're a government employee right now, be very cautious about what you're clicking on and replying to, because apparently attacks are through the roof right now for you guys.
Oh yeah, and I believe it, especially like people are probably job searching right now,
Yeah,
and you don't know who's reaching out via LinkedIn and stuff. I mean, my inbox is absolute trash. I'm like, I gave up on
yeah,
authenticity at that point. I'm like, whatever. But for like the average Joe and stuff, like a person might not realize like it's a fake profile, and then next thing you know, you're clicking on a link, and now it's a fake, XYZ page or document, and
yeah.
you don't even know what's going on in the background. And it's so scary how people can just pry on these desperate moments that are going on. But yeah, no, those are absolutely great valid points.
Yeah, definitely. If you're, if you have questions on those, I'm sure they have a WhatsApp number that you can message them on, and they'll be happy to respond.
Yeah, I have to be 21 and plus, and then, they're offering, like, a $50 an hour pay,
Yeah,
and, yeah, and their name's always, like, Lori, Teresa,
yeah.
or,
Every time, your
every
typical
time. I'm
HR
like, "I don't know a Lori." I was like, "I do, but she's not you, and that's not her number."
name.
But yeah, I remember when Snapchat was like a thing, like a really big thing. I don't know if it still is. I'm not on the snaps, but I remember when Snapchat was starting to become popular, and then they rolled out Snapchat ads. I like in my younger years, I definitely had clicked on an adware or two on Snapchat, and it was like, "Oh, free makeup." Like, "Oh my gosh, I would love this free makeup." And of course now like a person who has had some age time, I was like, "Oh my god, why did I ever like submit an address, to
Right.
any of this stuff?" It's fine. It's fine. I guess it worked out. I'm still waiting for my free makeup.
That's right.
It still hasn't arrived yet. Yeah.
I'm
So,
waiting for the threat actors to start doing like fake podcasts, like, "Hey, we want to have you on a show. Like, give
oh my
us some
gosh, that would be
information." Like,
amazing.
there you go. There you guys go. That's a free one. Take that, threat actors. And
Oh my gosh, that would be so fun. Actually, I would love to do a podcast. Or actually, no, I take that back. Now I'm thinking about the consequences of those actions. I do not want to be on a podcast with a threat actor, but I know some people who would probably love to sit down and just be like, "So what's it like? Do you have a day job? Is this your day job?"
yeah. You get like a threat actor and the security people just on a podcast together, just talking, and they're probably like Russia or China or somewhere, and we're like here. It's just a dialogue. Yeah, that'd be something.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so, I guess if you're a bored threat actor, there's an idea for you. So,
Yeah, reach
don't
out.
reach out to us. We don't wanna be on it, we just wanna listen. And, please make sure it's not on, premium or anything, because I like the free podcast as well
That's
for selfish reasons. So, okay, cool. Well, now that we've deviated from that, so Zach, what is your recommendation for our listeners, especially those who might be in the field, those who are pursuing higher education? What is your recommendation for them to have work-life balance, or even to recognize when maybe work is starting to become too much for them?
Yeah. It's a great question. And burnout's been a topic of consideration in the field for a while now. And I think sometimes that people get into these roles and they maybe they take on more than they think they can handle, or that they actually can handle, and they take it home and they don't really have that shut off. So that work life balance does become important. I'm a workaholic and I love to work, but I've had to learn over the years, especially after getting married and having children, that like I have to turn it off and like not work when I'm with them. So and I think there's value to that I've learned to appreciate. So have a line, and you got to draw a line in the sand. And you kind of just have to do it. Like 6 o'clock every day, you're going to turn off, and maybe that means you silence your emails, after 7 or 8. Like I get that some people are on call, and there's exceptions to that, right? But for the most part, you got to have that line where you kind of just turn off for a little bit and you find something else to do. And I'm not saying it has to be completely different. Like even when I turn off, I might go and read in the evening, and I could very well be reading a cyber book or something IT related, and I think that's okay too. But you need to have those outlets where it's not work specific, right? That you can kind of stretch and grow in a little bit, and not be worried that someone's breathing down your neck or you have a deadline or something like that. So very good time management starts to play into that. So when you're at the office, maybe I don't know what everyone does in their day to day, but I know a lot of people, even on my team, I see them and work gets done, but they might spend some time watching some YouTube or scrolling, Reddit or whatever, and that's cool. I don't care. But think of your time management, and if you have deadlines, try to get that done during the day. Like just knock it out, and so you can have that free time in the evening, and you're not on all the time. You just really got to be able to separate at times. It's super important.
Yeah, I took up crocheting recently and I've learned I am terrible at crocheting. So,
You have anything you can show us right now?
I it's it no.
No, it's that bad. Laugh.
I enjoy being vulnerable on a podcast, but, yeah, no, that is I wouldn't even show my, like, my nieces and nephews and stuff. No, absolutely not, no.
Well, that's kind of the thing though, like, it really breaks you out of your comfort zone when you have to
It
do something like
does.
that. I know for a while, one of my mentors has always been like, "You just gotta start recording videos and posting them." Like, don't edit them, just, like, get on, talk for a couple minutes and post them, and
Yep.
you'll get better over time, but it's that raw, like, force you out to do things that you don't wanna do, and I think that's also important, like, in your job. So when I was younger, and still some to this day, but like I'd be in a meeting, and someone would be like, I need someone to do X, Y, or Z, or we need a volunteer for this. And it might be completely unrelated to what I was doing. But if you volunteer for it, you throw your hand up and you do it, you get a little goodwill too, but you also learn like different things. You have to solve problems in areas you're not familiar with. So it gets that brain working in different ways. And maybe some of that stuff translates over later into your actual career. But I like to I don't know, test different areas and learn different things and see how it all pulls back together. So I was always one to kind of raise my hand and try different stuff, and I don't know, see if I could figure it out.
You're such a good noodle, Zach.
Always the teacher's pet.
Okay, so we are getting close towards the end of the episode, and time flies by in the lab. I always say that. Um, I do have 2 questions that I always like to make sure I leave enough time for you guys. The first one, and by the way, full transparency, these are the most difficult questions, or I guess time on the show that you will have to answer. So I hope you are ready, especially after just hyping yourself up, talking about challenges and figuring things out. So, no pressure whatsoever, Good Noodle Zach Lewis. But first question that I have for you is, where can people follow you on social media? Or what is a good way for people to contact you if they have questions or just want to like have a fireside chat with you one day? So,
Yeah. Well, I'm only on about one social media platform. That's LinkedIn. where I'm pretty active. Not as active as Rihanna, but you can still find me there. And I will respond to messages typically if you're not trying to sell me anything. But yeah, we can definitely have a conversation. I am on Reddit, but I'm not going to tell you who I am on Reddit. That's for me to know and you to find out one day. But I do patrol through there at times. So that's probably the best place though. LinkedIn. I will drop my work email is zachary.lewis@uhsp.edu. And if you have a question, you can email me and I will consider responding.
I will consider responding. I love that. And I will also, for the listeners as well, or for those who are just watching this video, I will make sure to include all of Zach's fun contact information down below. He is a great person to connect with. I've enjoyed his content, our messages, and just kind of like seeing what he's been up to. It's very cool to connect with those in the community because you never know who might inspire you or vice versa. So really make sure to go out there and connect. And Zach is a safe contact. He's not going to drop any fake job links or threat actor podcasts. So definitely a
Depends on
good
how much they
good
want to pay
person.
me, I guess. I don't know. Like, can I be
Or maybe
bribed?
not. I don't. You know what? He could just go from eating casual hamburgers at dinner on a Sunday and just be like, nope, this is me now. So
I throw my hoodie up and I start sending malicious job postings.
for legal reasons. We're kidding. So Zach, this is gonna probably be the hardest question now. And some people do get stumped on this, some people don't. It's my podcast, whatever. I get to ask what I want. What advice do you have for our listeners? And this can be anything compared to the best joint to get a hamburger at, or maybe career advice or advice for students. But this is your time to leave with parting words of wisdom that you might have for our listeners.
Yeah, so I think you were hitting it on the head right before we got to this about connecting with people online and because you never know when someone might inspire you or connect you with someone. I think networking is like critical in our industry. Follow people, connect with them, chat with them, interact with them. If they post something you like, comment on that post, comment, something other than thanks or great content, like be engaging, like talk about why you like it and what it means or ask them questions. Like if you start engaging with these people over and over again and you're following the right people and then you start maybe doing your own content or something like that, it just builds a nice ecosystem. Someone will think about you when a job opens. If you ever need help, you have these connections where you've engaged with these people, go to conferences and meet them. And when you meet them, they'll be like, "Oh, you're the one who's always commenting on my stuff. Like this is great. We finally have a face to a name." And I think that is very important. Community is important in the security industry. And no digs on Kansas City, but St. Louis has like one of the best cybersecurity communities in the entire country. And this is hands down. It's not just me being biased. It's like proven. I'm pretty sure they did a scientific study on it and they proved it. Uh,
Not
and if
surprised,
you're
we're pretty fun, but
yeah, and if you're in St. Louis, Max Local Eats is a really good hamburger place. It's quite delicious. And then read books. Books are great. Yeah, that's it. That's what I got.
yeah, that's a I like that. I like that message. And it's so true too with the commenting because there's some people I always feel bad when I don't like respond or, react to comments as fast as I probably should. But like the people that actually put their opinions or like adding to their personal experience to the post or like, oh my gosh, this resonates with me because of XYZ. I tend to get to those a lot faster compared to the comment for visibility or thumbs up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And also to add, if you're in St. Louis, if you're looking for ice cream, I know out of like the most random food places to eat at ice cream, there is this place called Clementine's in St. Louis,
Clementine's.
and I love Clementine ice cream. I don't know why it hits different. I don't know if they put MSG in their ice cream, but it's probably one of my favorite ice cream places. So yeah.
Listeners did not know they were going to get so much St. Louis culture and insights. So when you're visiting, go to all these restaurants and eat this food.
All these restaurants. Go to Budweiser, go pet the horses, the Clydesdales and
Clydesdales,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. I pet one of those one time. I'm like, "Oh, you guys are like little dinosaurs. I'm okay now. Thank you."
They are massive. There was a random story. Sorry. There was a wedding there one time, and I was super late getting to it, and they had closed. Apparently, they closed the Anheuser Busch when you have weddings there, and you can't like get in, and you can't leave either until the wedding is over. So security had to drive me in the back of their car, in the back of their squad car to the wedding, and I got there, and everyone was taking pictures, and I got to get out of the police car.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, "Yep, this is good."
Oh my gosh. You're like, Zach Lewis is here. Thank you.
Take the cuffs off. The party begins.
Well, Zach, it has been such a delight to have you on the show. So thank you so much
Yeah,
for rescheduling with me 300 million times and talking about your story, your journey, and the wonderful insight not only to the education and medical industries, but also a little sneak peek about St. Louis. I always enjoy it. It's in my backyard. So I'll definitely have to say hi next time I'm in the area. So
yeah.
well, thank you so much, Zach. Like I said, I do appreciate you coming into the lab.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Rihanna. Thanks to the lab. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And for our listeners, please make sure to comment if you have been in St. Louis, if you have had a favorite good place, maybe in your local region you want to recommend. Please comment those below. Again, all of Zach's information on how to reach out to him will be in the description of the podcast. But again, please make sure to like and subscribe, and that's how we continue to build and connect and contribute. So, thank you guys. Have a great day. Bye.